ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections: the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com, the gateway to the magic. We have a special show today. We have a roundtable show with our roundtables, but we're not talking DVC today. Join us on the show, Miss Rebecca Toon.
Well, hello.
Well, hello.
Non-DVC roundtable members.
Emily Hansa Hicks.
It's like a square
table. Right. I want a triangle table, and I would like to be at a point.
It's a trapezoid.
Right.
We also have
too many of us.
Oh, we also have Mr. Brad Coates.
Greetings, everyone.
And what's a roundtable show without Mr. Joe Quattrochi?
Hey, Tim, what's going on, brother? Yes, sir.
We thought we would take this time. We wanted to get together. We want to talk about some non-DVC things because we always have a great time conversing, sharing ideas. We want to talk about some of our favorite tech that we use on a Walt Disney World vacation.
Tech.
There you go.
About technology.
Now, before we started, Emily wanted to make sure we all had the parameters under control.
Right, and that question, I believe, has been asked and answered because you specified on a vacation, which means I believe that we could say, like, starting from when you leave your house.
Correct.
Till when you get to your house, correct?
What in the world is on your list?
A car, airplane.
I have a lot of children.
Don't tease everyone.
I mean, there's certain tech you need for a long drive. I'm just saying.
Are you somehow going to link this to your Tesla? Because I feel like you're going to link this to your Tesla.
Oh my gosh. So I didn't think of my Tesla as a piece of tech, but you are so right that the Tesla is the ultimate piece of tech.
I'm here to help.
Right? You take the thing down. It's a big, beautiful supercomputer. You drive it all the way to Florida. You charge it on the way there, just like any other cool piece of tech. And it takes you to Florida without having to, fill with petroleum.
It'll take you about 7 days to get there because you have to charge every 200 miles. So
we haven't done it yet. So
I could go farther on my motorcycle than you're going.
Well, luckily mine is an old one, so it's got the free supercharging. So the free makes it feel better. But yes, that is true. You do have to stop to charge, and it does take a little bit, but it doesn't take that long. So you'll be okay. But
I think that falls within the parameters.
Yes, I think so. So, but where I was going with that, and let's say with that, my Tesla does not have a video. Well, actually, I guess it has the giant tablet thing in it, but that's only usable when you're not driving for obvious reasons. So what we do on trips, and we have not driven down to Disney yet, but we do plan to in the future. And we will be we have this little tiny old portable DVD player that my husband got when he was studying for the bar exam and he had to watch lectures. So it's ancient. I mean, it is like your Walkman or Discman or whatever. So you bring your big thing full of Disney DVDs and you took, because you take out all the old school DVDs and you leave the Blu-rays by your actual player, if you even use those at all. But then you take your little wallet of DVDs and you play movies for the children, and they are quiet.
I love this one. This is such a throwback to the old days when my kids were younger. And we had like the ones that like strapped onto the back of the seats.
Yes.
Yes.
And the 2 screens, and they watch one movie, but they'd each have their own screen. Yep, had the cable.
Yeah, they were invaluable. I mean, they made the time go by so much quicker. You always pulled out the old movies too, the ones you didn't watch very often.
Right, because then they're riveted.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And connected to that, I would say, this works in an airplane too. Kindle Fires. the kids version with silicone, protective things. So that pretty much keeps us running every trip, letting them give them a screen. It's fine.
Vacation. They're going to be spending days in the park. It's fun. I will add to that because I have been on, and I feel like Joe and I have had this conversation before, so I will piggyback onto the Kindle and say, please, 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 please don't forget the headphones. Because as much as you want to hear the Disney movies, the people around us do not.
Exactly.
Bring a backup set if you have to.
Yeah. Don't forget the headphones and bring it back up because they're always the first things to get lost.
Truth.
Good call. Yeah. One thing I will say, if you're going to have your kids watch movies in the back, you want to take some empty plastic bags and maybe not have them watch the movies while you're driving through mountains.
Oh yeah.
Just throwing that out there. We learned that the hard way.
Sounds like the voice of experience.
It is.
The voice of experience and also the one who had to clean it up.
Well, we lost many a stuffed animal on trips like that. So just throwing that out there.
The pork plush.
That's sad. Oh my goodness. Wow.
You just took me back to a drive home from Chicago once where we had all 3 children erupting.
Yes.
We had to stop and buy automotive cloths and smuggle bags into rest stops to cycle. Anyway, I'll stop.
No.
Though, if your kids get a little car sick, I remember a million times driving and listening to the old Disney sing-alongs that we would download and put. At that time, we had them on our MP3 player because we were super hip.
MP3 player. I had him on a cassette.
That was the first time my kids ever heard the very old version of Living with the Land.
Oh.
And it became a running joke with us that every time we would see that ride, my kids would be like, "Don't start, Mom. Don't start." And I would immediately burst out, and within seconds they would be singing along with me. So don't discount the beauty of if you don't have the screen or your kids can't function as well with the screens, put on the music. The music is incredible as well.
Love it.
All right.
So do we have any more bodily function high-tech items that we need to talk about?
That's a big negative, Brad.
Well, that's our show.
Plan on keeping my lunch down.
In COVID era, if you're driving if you're doing the drive, I have heard about these little toilet things that you can bring with you. They're like little porta potty, like kid potty seats, but you can take them on your drive, and they have liners. So if you're really scared of stepping the rest off.
Liners.
But I guess that's not tech.
I'm what are you setting on fire?
Right. I mean, just in case it really smells. It's not tech though. It doesn't.
I was going to say that's a good tip, but it's not really tech. Unless it's
breaking my rules or our rules.
Okay, so I'm gonna go one with really low tech.
Okay.
But it's still technology. But sort of if you have small kids, this was invaluable when our kids were little. And for me, when we started the show, for the way listeners, we were trying to see who could outdo one another and find out something that wasn't on everyone's list. So I think Emily successfully found something, things, because I would have never thought about a porta-john.
Or a Tesla.
So I'm going to go with my first thing being very low tech, a flashlight. Those, especially the little ones that the kids can hold on to that maybe are a fun character or something like that. Especially when they're younger and maybe still slightly afraid of Haunted Mansion or Rock and Roller Coasters, those rides that kind of go into the dark. Those small, low luminescent flashlights go a really long way into sort of growing your kids into those rides.
Love it. And corollary, bring a nightlight for your hotel room.
Oh,
that's good. That's good.
Actually, Emily, I don't know if a lot of the rooms now, at least the refurbished rooms at Pop Century, we just stayed there, Jen and I. Some of the switches over by the counter where the sinks are, they come built in with a nightlight now. So you have the option of closing the curtain, but yeah, it's kind of nice. It drives my wife nuts because she needs it completely dark. For me, it's I could, for example, when we go to Vegas, right? We usually sleep with the curtains open because you got a view of the strip, whatever. It's awesome. No, she's got to have it completely closed. Same thing it is. Everything's going to be completely dark, completely closed. It drives her nuts. So I know because I've had a stuff washcloths over it or whatever to stop it. But yeah, they are starting to come with those. So yeah, it's always nice to bring your own, but at least Disney has at least addressed that.
That's awesome.
It's nice not to run into like a bathroom or something or a configuration you may not be used to in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good tip for the cruise line also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those rooms can be dark, especially if you're on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tim, can I go? Oh, me.
You can.
Okay, so my tech thing, and I'm sure nobody's gonna have this on their list, and this has happened recently on that trip I just talked about where we stayed at Pop Century, and my wife will be going this weekend with her sister for a little girls trip. But so when we ran into this problem when obviously we love NASCAR, and the NASCAR races in the fall are usually broadcasted on NBC Sports Network, and Disney owns ESPN and all that stuff, and they don't usually carry NBC Sports Network. So what we usually bring is we bring a Roku streaming stick with us. And
that's on mine.
The one that we have, and you could bring a Amazon Fire Stick if you want, but we're a Roku family, and a lot of them now come with at least the Streaming Stick Plus. They come with an extended antenna. And it actually works really well. We've used the Roku at the Jumbo House for our little staycation. We've used it at Pop Century. And listen, it's NASCAR season. It's football season. It is, you got Disney Plus. You've got movies. And yes, we all love the in-house channels with Stacy. And I love to watch like the in-house channel, the hotel you're staying at. But after a while, you're just kind of like, I wish I had like my own DVR or whatever with me or my Disney Plus with me. So if you're a guy who wants to watch your team on Sunday and you know what, like ESPN Club is packed or what?
Or if you're a girl
Okay. Well, I'm just if you're a person or you're a Disney World guest who wants to watch their football team,
human being or animal.
Human being or whatever. So, or if you got kids that want to like my niece and nephew, they like are Disney Plus junkies and like that's all they watch. And even though like there's Disney Channel and Disney Junior in the hotel room, sometimes like you can have your own stuff you like queued up. It's just nice to have your own entertainment with you. Disney makes it really easy. The TV is usually you pull out a little bit so you can plug the stick right in. It's easy to get on the Wi-Fi, and we've had really good success like with like minimal buffering and stuff. So
I was going to ask how the Wi-Fi has been when you were using it.
Let's tell you, the two places we've used it so far is Pop and Jumbo had zero problems at all. Now, granted, they're not at like full capacity the resorts right now, but we bought the one with the extended antenna on it. I mean, it's like maybe $10 more. But we literally have the stick we just travel with us because we have YouTube TV, so we have all of our DVR with us. We have all of our sports stuff with us, Amazon, Netflix. So I just think it's something good to bring when you want to wind down at the end of the night and you want to watch your own TV or maybe there's a show you want to watch. You don't have to worry about missing it. I know there's enough NASCAR races we watched on an iPad. So we're like, we want to see the end of the race, and like we didn't have it with us because it wasn't on. The hotels didn't have NBCSN. So that's something that's like the first thing we always bring with us is a Roku streaming stick.
So
you are so not alone. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Brad.
To give a little caveat to that, we do the same thing. And actually, I just did this on my last trip. Brought my Fire TV along. But I will say, I stayed at the Animal Kingdom Value Room, and then I went over to Riviera. And on both TVs, it was a little bit of a chore to get to the plugs that are they're on those newer ones. They're making them harder and harder to get to. And the TV at Animal Kingdom, I think I freaked it out because somehow after 2 days, all of a sudden, not only would my box not work, but the TV wasn't working either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, well, okay, I guess you didn't want me to do that. And I didn't unplug anything. I just plugged into another input. So I don't know if I caused it or if something else happened. But with both of those TVs, it was a little bit of a chore to get your hand because they were hard mounted against the wall. So they're only about an inch space. And if you had to work your hand back in there to get the cable to the HDMI plug. So some hotels might be easier than others, but it worked in both places.
Yeah, that's a good point, Brad. I know they at least Roku sells the extension where if it's like a flat, where the HDMI port is, if it's flat, it's flush to get in there. It'll you plug it in and it kind of hangs down, and you can plug the stick into that where it kind of dangles down. It's easier to get to. So that might help. I know Roku sells them. A lot of times if you buy a Roku, you can they'll send you one for free. Just register your product and they'll send you one. So some are easier than others. But yeah.
Yeah, I just did a long cable and the box wasn't down on the desk and it was just hard to get to the plug. But anyway, just be aware of it.
Joe, I love that, and we actually we were just bringing a Fire Stick. We might be bringing the Roku too. Actually, we're more Fire Sticky, but we actually
technical term Fire Sticky,
right? Fire Sticky, yeah. But we had a tragedy that occurred because we have Sling. So actually, we might have Sling on the Roku too, but we have it installed. You know, all of our passwords are saved and everything on the Fire Stick. So we brought it last trip, and somehow it disappeared. I'm sure we left it somewhere between, where did we stay? We stayed at Animal Kingdom and then Riviera. So I'm sure we left it in one of those hotel rooms, probably Riviera, because I'm sure we watched it at Riviera. So we had to get home. As soon as we got home, we had to, and finally admitted that we had left it. We bought a new one, which was sad, but I mean, they're not that expensive. But man, we were super into this show called The Magicians on the Sci-Fi Channel, which you can only get so many places. And if you record things, I think you can record to your Fire Stick, right? Or your Roku.
Oh, yeah, we have YouTube TV, so it's the cloud DVR. Yeah, so it's just like being at home. So
it is, and there's something glorious about being at Disney in a hotel, and your kids are falling asleep, and you're watching your favorite show in a big fancy hotel bed. It's not your bed. It's just the best. So
yeah, that's
always good to have options.
That. Yeah.
All right, we're 3 for 3. Woohoo!
Nice. Brad, what do you have?
Brad, take us home.
Okay, so my new tech. First time was this last trip that I've ever used it. In the past, I always had I was down there during the heat, the time we all loved to be at Disney. Woohoo! And so usually I would take those neck cloths that you wet and you put around your neck and everything. Well, I had heard a friend of mine had purchased these new, they're neck fans. They hang around your neck. They're rechargeable, and they come down on flexible rods, flexible arms. And then there's 2 fans, and you can point them and shape them to be wherever you want them to be. So I decided I'd give it a shot, bought one on Amazon, and I will never take another trip without it unless it's in the winter, because that fan was amazing. It was just like, I didn't run it all the time, but whenever I would get to a queue where there was air conditioning, or especially inside, I'd turn that thing on and it would blow that cold air on my face with my mask. And by the time it got done, my face was ice cold, my mask was ice cold, and it was fantastic. I love that little thing.
Interesting.
And that's awesome.
I love it.
What does it look like?
It's just like if you've seen the wireless headphones that have like a bar across the back of the neck, and then they kind of go around the side of your neck, and then they're loose cables going up. Okay, it's a bar around your neck, a little bit bigger because it's a battery pack. Okay, it's about 6 inches across the back of your neck, and then 2 arms that flex like a gooseneck, and they just flex down. You can bend them across. I would just bend them across and tuck them underneath my shirt when I was on a roller coaster. Never went anywhere. But then you can point them. You can point them to your ears. You can bend them up towards them right in front of your face, to the side of your face, wherever you want the air to go. And then there's just a little button. You turn it on. Mine had 5 speeds, so you could make it blow harder.
Nice.
And they're little. The fans are about 2.5 inches to 3 inches.
Okay.
Do you have a picture you could send us? Post with the show?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
I can find one easily.
You.
That's very cool. Are they blades or are they bladeless, Brad? I'm really worried about my hair right now.
Yeah, they're blades.
Okay.
But they're inside. Never thought about the hair part, but the people that had them that talked me into getting them were they were all females, so none of them seemed to have any problems with getting in their hair. Here it is, hands-free neck fan. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cool colors, pink, purple.
Can I ask how much they were?
Amazon, I'm looking at them right now. I think mine.
$19.95.
Yep, I bought a pair. Mine were a little more because it was a little longer charge. So I went with one that had a little bit more battery. But you can buy them as low as $10.99.
Double A's, I'm assuming.
Rechargeable. So
no, they're USB rechargeable.
Yeah, so I just plug it into a recharger at night, put it on my neck, and go. That's part of why I didn't run them all day long, because I was like, I didn't want them to run out of power while I was, in the park. But I never even came close. But remember, that was on that trip where I was being done about 3 o'clock every day. So
Right.
it really wasn't a full day.
Never heard of these, and this is amazing.
Yeah.
So you just triggered a little accessory that we need to remember, especially if you're traveling with a large group. USB splitters. So
that's on my list.
Is it on your list? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's on mine too.
That was on mine too. So boonga.
Nice.
Yeah, love it.
But hey, Emily, I think we would probably come up with different reasons why. But I think besides, I know you have 3 kids. 4 including Matt, so
right.
He's not listening to this. He's a big dude. But I mean, you guys probably have a ton of devices to charge.
Yes.
I know for me, and I'm going to kind of cheat Tim by throwing this in there. I like to have a Garmin tracker, as tech I have. In Disney World, it's kind of fun to track your steps and use it as a clock, and I get notifications like it's my phone. But I'm saying, besides that and charging, I have 2 phones, one for work, one for personal. Next thing you know, all of those ports are just, Disney's been really good about putting ports in there. But I will say this. I've read articles, call me conspiracy theorists or not. I've always been told it's better to just plug into a USB hub, charging hub, rather than plug directly into some hub that is like hardwired into the thing, because you don't know if it's going to take in. You don't know. You don't know if it's going to take in. If you just got a straight up thing from your phone into this wall outlet thing that you don't know if it's taking information off your phone. I don't know. That's what I've been told by people who are much more techy than me. But at least
a really good security tip. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you know what? And so between that and the number of devices, like using your family as an example, or even me with all my phones and my Garmin's, you could buy a 6-port. Some of the good brands are like Anchor. Even Amazon Basics is a reputable brand, but Anchor is probably one of the better ones, I think. For like $20-$25, and you wrap it up, plug it in, and you could plug all of your devices into one spot. I actually have that next to my bed. I have 6. I even have my alarm clock is USB and it plugs into the thing. So I think that's a good thing. Besides, because I'm sure with your family, Emily, you've got iPads and Kindles to charge and Garmin watches and phones. So, and I think it just makes things a lot easier. I mean, you can get them 10, even more. I mean, it's endless the amount of ports you can get. But I think for multiple reasons, I think that's a great tip.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I actually have, because I'm a sucker for a ceiling fan, and very few of the resorts there at Disney have them, especially the resorts I typically stay at, not being a DVC member, only a renter. So I had to get DVC in there. But I always travel with just like a small oscillating fan that I set on the nightstand, and it's powered by USB. So it plugs right into that as well. And it's just, I don't know if it's the noise or the movement of hair, but I like having that, and I always sleep better. So I always have the small fan with me as well.
I always say, rely on yourself. Don't rely on the hotel or Disney to provide for you. If like Brad's got his neck fan suit, I got one for him and his wife. Phones. He's like, okay, I've got like 6 things to plug in. Bring a 6-port plug with you, and you'll have nothing to worry about. You don't have to worry about looking for outlets or USB outlets. Oh, this one doesn't work. A lot of times, as the hotel rooms get used, the outlets don't work and they're loose, and you don't have to worry about it. You've got your own stuff, and you rely on yourself, and everything will charge and be good to go for your next day.
There you go.
And to your point, the outlets aren't always where you want them to be. So if you've got that one, the one USB underneath the television, you could go, like I remember one trip where we didn't have our splitter with us, and I think my phone was charging in like the second bathroom or some craziness. But if you bring sort of your extension situations, you can arrange it where you want it.
Yeah, DVC Studios, it's always in the kitchenette. Like that's where all the cell phones end up, is right by the sink in the fridge.
Right.
So go figure.
It seems like so funny.
Nice.
I like that fan idea though, because my husband really likes a fan, so I'm like you, Joe. I can fall asleep if I'm tired. I can fall asleep with the lights on, music playing. Maybe a marching band. I'm a light sleeper, weirdly, but
Well, Emily was in a marching band, so
I was.
that's music. It's music to her ears. So.
Have I mentioned this before? Or are you just like sure based on me that I was in a marching band? Which is fair.
I will say we always travel with a white noise machine also. That always helps us out.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Throwing that out there.
Is it small?
It's small. I'm trying to think what about the size of it is. Maybe like a bigger coffee cup, although it's flatter, runs on batteries, or it can be plugged in. So that's a good option in
Okay.
case there's not.
I actually have an app on my phone that's a white noise, and so sometimes I'll put that app on when I'm in a hotel because I like to have something in the background.
I would get a segue to the phone, right?
It freaks me out knowing my phone's
I wouldn't
running.
say it was high tech. I don't bring a white noise. I bring Ambien.
Well, that works too. There you go.
That'll work.
Same effect.
Ambien.
I get great sleep.
Noise.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody have anything different moving forward than a phone or an app on a phone that we're going to talk about?
Right.
I mean, the one thing I say, Rebecca, is like, yeah, everybody knows like bring extra batteries. You know what I'm saying? Or if a case has extra battery because everything is My Disney Experience and mobile ordering now. Everything is on the phone. So bring an extra battery with you.
And I've had some cheaper ones over the years, but I've invested on a really nice battery pack.
Yeah,
I throw it in a backpack and take it every time.
Absolutely. You know, and when you're going, a lot of people go on Amazon to look for this stuff. And I, like Brad, I've gone through like so many batteries. I kind of feel that like Anchor is one of the better companies out there. Like none of their stuff has blown up on me or melted on me or gotten hot, whatever. So I have Anchor batteries, Anchor hubs. You pay a little bit more money. I just bought one for my wife. It's an Anchor, and it charges two phones. It's like the pad charging. It charges two at the same time for her bedside stand. It's like, I know it won't blow up and catch the house on fire. You know what I'm saying? So pay a little bit extra, a couple of dollars more, and the battery will last you all day instead of it like just,
exactly
taking a crap. I mean, yeah, the fuel rods are great, but like they have to look for a place to exchange it. It might not be one convenient. Like I always said, I'm always one to rely on yourself. Don't rely on anybody else to, make your
get a little bit bigger one and nothing huge, but where it'll handle it, because those what are they called? What did you just say? The ones that
fuel rods or fuel cells?
Yeah, those things you're lucky to get one full charge. I mean,
that is true.
And they don't usually high charge speed. There's certain battery packs you buy now that'll actually high charge. The one I have, it actually has the key, so I can lay the phone on it for charging as well. I don't have to connect the cable. I can lay things on it. What do they call that? The new
it's a QI or
QI, yeah.
Yeah.
QI. Mm-hmm. Has that built into the side of it, and it has a little digital on the top, tell you how much charge you still have in it. So I love it. I paid more for it, but it's never failed me. And it's cool because you can, even while I'm walking around in the park, if I notice my phone's getting down, I'll just plug the cable in, stick it in my pocket, and it's plugged in my pocket charging while I'm walking. I just pull out my pocket and do my phone, and so I can keep on going.
I walk around with like a little pursey thing. And I'm constantly, every time I'm not using my phone, I plug it into the fuel cell. And my husband and I each have one, and we just charge them up every day before we leave. And we've never had a problem finding a fuel cell pack if we needed it. And usually we can get through the day with one extra charge from the fuel cell, especially because we go back to the room a lot. So, but I will say, now you have me wanting to upgrade.
Treat yourself.
Have a number.
Treat yourself.
Right.
So I echo Joe's admiration of them. The Anchor products are great.
Yeah, they work. I mean, but besides like Garmin and fit trackers, which kind of everybody kind of knows, those are kind of like nice things to have for steps and how much you've walked and getting notifications. Do you guys, and Tim, do you guys want to go into like apps we use in the parks? Because maybe there are some apps that the listeners out there may not know about that we use, or since everything is so cell phone based these days.
Before we hit up the apps, one last actual gadget sort of thing. Backup magic bands. So if you are a regular, you probably have 500 magic bands. So pick the most recent magic bands from your, like, one of the last couple trips you've taken. Sorry, this assumes that you go to Disney all the time like I do, or we do. Although I haven't been since January and it just feels so wrong. But yeah, to have those backup magic bands have saved our butts so many times, because they sometimes are the difference between having to stand in line for, however long to get someone to help you with an issue, or to get a replacement if you lose it or whatever. We have just grabbed, we'll always have an extra, grabbed it. We also have had babysitters come before, and so we'll hand the babysitter one of the extra magic bands so they can use it to get in and out if they need to. So yeah, I would say extra magic band. That's all.
That's a good one.
That's a good tip.
I usually take 2 or 3 of those. And that's a good reminder in case somebody's new out there and doesn't know it or understand. Once you have a magic band, it'll work from then on as long as you keep it active in your account. So every trip you could use the same magic band you used the first trip. So I don't have enough magic bands yet to do a full garland around my 6-8 foot tree. but I'm getting close.
Brad, man, I'm like the opposite of you. The one day I sat down in my living room upstairs and I went through, we have a box full of Disney crap. It's all buttons and old magic bands and just, you can name it. And I literally sat through my laptop, went through and deactivated all of I had 20 something magic bands are activated. It's deactivate. I just got rid of, I have 2 that are active now. I wear the same one every time. I got my Dooney and Burke DVC band. I wear it every time. Why do I need all these other ones active? It's so I just sat there and deactivated them all, and I've actually brought them back and recycled some of them. I don't need these.
Smart.
Look at that.
I do actually put mine on my Christmas tree. I have a full garland around my tree now.
Nice.
Well,
I go around it. I just can't.
I'll send you some of mine, Rebecca.
You should.
There you go, yeah.
You can make a big one. Wait, I have 2 things that I want to ask about. I do not personally use these in the park, and I'm curious as to if anybody else does. And those would be iPads and GoPros.
No
to the iPad, right, Tim?
No iPads.
So full exposure.
I use it on the plane going. I use it, in the hotel room, not in the park. Mm-hmm. And I used to use a GoPro, but with the way cameras have gotten so good on the phones now, who needs it? You gotta really want to do something special with that camera.
I was going to ask, does anybody even take a camera of any kind anymore?
Not anymore.
No.
Not a camera, I remember the days where I remember arriving in Magic Kingdom and turning around and going back to the resort because I forgot the video camera.
Oh my gosh.
Turned around because I could not fathom going through an entire day at Magic Kingdom without my video camera. And I actually couldn't tell you when the last time. It has to have been 8 years ago that I took a video camera with me.
I remember going to the parks and seeing... I just remember going to the parks and seeing the separate units where people were carrying around the tape deck and then a separate camcorder with an umbilical cord between them to record their vacation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Tim, you just literally took the words out of my mouth. I wanted to give a shout out to my father's generation. So if you have any older Resort Loop listeners, my dad is about to turn 70. Mm-hmm. One thing I just did it for them for Christmas, and they don't listen to the show, so I can say this, is I actually took all of our old Disney home videos from circa 1984 on through and I took them from VHS, put them on DVD, and then I made extra copies for them so my parents could have their own copies of those so they could watch them, whatever. And my dad was the one that had the camera on his shoulder, and like Tim is saying, it had it on the other shoulder was essentially a VCR in a bag, and they would put, and that's what he would seriously, and that's what he would walk. That's how it was done. And I remember back in 1989 or 1990, when we were on the Grand Plan at the Grand Floridian, it was like this all-inclusive thing. It was absolutely amazing. And you could literally, as part of the Grand Plan, because everything was included. It was like whatever you wanted, it was included. I'll never do anything like that again. But you could actually rent VHS camcorders for the day. And there were RCA camcorders, and people would walk around the parks with them, and that's what my dad did for years. No wonder my dad has had 3 neck surgeries because he did things like this. You know what though? The fact that he went and sacrificed that, because nobody does that now. Nobody goes and records and if you watch the retro WDW podcast, those guys, they'll take these old Disney movies and remaster them, and nobody does that anymore. Nobody videotapes themselves and their families walking through the parks really anymore. The vloggers do it, but and the fact that my dad did that and captured all those memories, it's awesome. And the fact that he did that carrying around 45 pounds of crap that even Tim knows about, that is awesome. Props to that generation.
Absolutely.
Those guys were warriors. You know what I'm saying? That they were trekking through the hot sun,
Right.
the hot Florida sun, doing that. So shout out to that
Real
generation for
American
doing
heroes.
that. Absolutely.
Real American heroes.
Yeah. It doesn't happen. I remember having one of the very first digital cameras, and it recorded on a disc.
Oh.
And it,
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
like a
Sony Mavicas or Mavicas or
that's exactly what it was.
yeah, those things are awesome.
You
They were
could
bad.
only
They were
put
expensive,
like 8 pictures on disc. So I would walk around the parks with this ginormous camera and like 37 discs in a backpack.
Yep. And then the disc was bad, and so you just did all those pictures, and none of them worked. It's like, oh my gosh!
Right.
That's gonna be the thumbnail for this episode. It's gonna be a Sony Mavica digital camera and an RCA shoulder recorder.
Right.
Technology at Disney World.
As important as we use is the stuff we don't use anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Break out
I
the cold
really
sweat.
want to do that now. I really want to find one of those and go on my next trip and carry one around just like for, half a day, and then have my husband, on his fancy little phone recording what happened and how many people stare.
Going into the Diamond Horseshoe Saloon back when they did the review, like the little show.
Right.
And I was videotaping the show because it was my son's favorite show. And I had the camcorder in my hand. I was videotaping it. And this gentleman who I've since become very good friends with, but he was an actor at the time, he got right up in the face of my camera and he goes, "Put that down. You're going to have to go home and watch this to see if you even had a good time."
There you go.
Something about the honesty in that moment stuck with me, and it made me realize, you know what? I'm missing a lot by being behind the lens.
That is true.
Well, isn't that the whole principle behind what's it called? Magic Memory Maker. Stuff.
The PhotoPass. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
I will say that's changed my life in several ways, because I think I've mentioned this before. First of all, now we can't just wear one outfit the whole trip. Second of all, that I feel like I am much more in the moment, and I do take a lot of pictures because my phone has got that portrait mode. I have the iPhone something, and the portrait mode is just amazing. So obviously I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is beautiful, and so are my children. So, but man, I will say, like, Memory Maker does help me put the phone down occasionally to actually, be there.
Actually get to be in the photo.
Mm-hmm. Yes, those are the only pictures I'm in.
Yeah,
100% true.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody hand their PhotoPass photographer a Sony Mavica camera to have them take a picture of you.
I'm not joking. I'm going to dig that bad.
We're going to do this.
And I'm going to send it to Emily.
Next race weekend, we're all down there. This is happening.
You're hollering at the poor guy saying, "You're looking in the wrong end."
That's right. Don't format my disc.
You need to format the disc first, all right? Before you take a...
The sound, it would whir. It would do this whirring sound for 30 seconds.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome. All
All
right,
right.
guys.
So what apps? What do we have?
Let's move on to the apps. Rebecca, what do you have used for apps?
Well, one of the ones that I've I use it, and then I make sure all my clients load it down, and it's Walt Disney World, and they do a Disneyland one. It's called Disney World Magic Guide.
Oh.
And inside of it, the app, it has maps for each park. It has it has the wait times. It has park hours, which are not as accurate as there's better apps out there for wait times and stuff. What I like this app for is the dining. If you click on the dining part of it, it'll break down each park, each resort. You click on it, and it'll show you every restaurant, menus, and they are real good on keeping it updated with pricing. So before you go to a restaurant, if you want to figure out, well, what do we want to eat? You can look to see if that restaurant's going to have what your kids want to eat, and before you go over there. And right now, if you open it up, Magic Kingdom, and it'll say Diamond Horseshoe temporarily unavailable, Golden Oak Outpost. So right now it's handy. It'll actually show you the restaurants that aren't open.
What's it called again?
It's called Magic Guide. But if you look it up, it has a blue castle. Blue background with a white castle, and it's just Magic Guide. And it's a WDW Magic Guide, and then Disneyland Magic Guide. It actually has one for, I think they even do one for Paris and different ones, but the two main ones, of course, are Disneyland and Disney World. And they both work the same. And they're free apps. So.
Nice.
Very good.
Well, Tim, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read off a few of mine here.
Sure.
I mean, I think we're all going to have something different. I think we could all agree. I go with the Bible, which is ToryPlans.com, the Lions app. I mean, it's Lentesta. I mean, I don't even look on MDE for anything. Like, I want to look at menus. I go to touring plans, wait times, touring plans. Everything is touring plans. So that's one I use. I think most Disney fans use $9.95 a year. We're not even plugging it. It's worth it. I use it for Universal Orlando and Disneyland as well. But yeah, Dark Sky for a weather app. It's $3.99. It's probably I use it living down here in Central Florida. It's pretty damn accurate. Dark Sky is probably one of the best weather apps out there. Activate the Find My app on your iPhone. It's free. Share your location of your family members, because if you're looking for somebody in the park, it'll help you definitely find, help you guys meet up a little bit. I got two more here. There's one called the Magic Band app. It's a free app, I believe it was. It's not the greatest thing, but what it does is it'll let you you could divide up what your charges are. And if you charge everything to your room, you could kind of keep a running total on your phone of what you've charged to your Magic Band. It does not link it automatically, but it's kind of fun. You could customize the monorails. Like, there's monorails that go by on the screen. You could divide up, like, for example, you could divide up how much you spend on souvenirs, if you have a budget, to, alcohol, food, whatever. You could do you could do whatever categories you want. But that's an app that we use sometimes, because I usually put everything on the band. And the last one is, it's not really an app, but it's a, if you're in a DVC 1 bedroom or above, you don't have this problem. But if you're in a studio or in a regular hotel room and you have to do laundry, laundryview.com.
That is awesome.
If you guys know about that, you can actually see how many machines are available. I don't know how it's done.
Right.
Like, you could select your resort and where you're at, and it'll tell you which machines are in use and which aren't.
I've done that up here, just because I'm curious. But that's actually a really good one. I mean, if you don't have access to one in your room and you want to do laundry early in the morning, you fire up laundryview.com and it'll tell you what machines are in use and what aren't. So, I mean, those are the ones that I kind of use when I'm away. In Disney, but everybody's got like their own, like Brad said, everybody's got their own Disney apps that work for them. But yeah, those are the ones I use. I mean, whether you're planning for your day, your laundry, that's convenience and not losing people. So those are the most important things right there. So
I think I speak for both Emily and I when I say neither one of us want to track how much we're spending on alcohol.
Right. You can label it something else if you'd like. But, it just helps so you don't get like that big, like, I mean, Disney's usually good about, if you're there for like a week, they'll charge every couple of days, or whenever you hit like a threshold, they'll send you like your little folio, like, you've hit $500, whatever. But I like to see like where I'm going, like, oh crap, I've spent a lot of money already, so.
I like to know that only after it's too late. Because,
yeah, because, and to echo Joe, I would always have you, if you have an iPhone and you have the Find My iPhone feature, it's great to have it turned on. I have left my phone more times than I am willing to admit in places. And that saved me a couple of times as well.
It's also fun too if you have friends. Like I track my brother and like my wife, obviously. So like when my brother's in Disney, I like to see where him and his family are. I know when to not bother them. Even this weekend, my wife will be in Disney with her sister, and I'll be like, I'll know if they're back at the room. I can call her and say hello because I know they're not in a park doing something crazy. Not that I'm spying on her, but it's like, well, I'm not going to bother her if she's in the middle of a Magic Kingdom. Like, I'm not going to bother her to say it's going to be loud and a lot going on. But if they're back at the room, hey, what's going on? How was your day? So it sounds a little voyeurish, I know, but like it's not. It just makes it convenient. So
what you doing?
What you doing? He's spending all the money. So make sure your sister treats you to dinner tonight.
Now you need to be more clear. So what does it look like in this restaurant you're in right now?
What did you buy me this weekend?
Wait. Okay, I gotta tell a story. It has
pick me up something.
I gotta tell a story. It has nothing to do with this, but it's too funny. We put in a camera system, a security system at my church, and I happened to bring it up, and my brand new hire janitor was in the hallway doing something, and looked at the camera and waved, And so I quickly texted her and said, "Hey, I'm waving back." And she freaked out. She's like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
Anyway, so do that to your wife. See how that turns out for you. So, ladies, do you have any other apps? I've got one I'm waiting, but I'll give you guys a shot.
So I have like a couple of my favorite apps. I have a lot of the ones that Joe talked about. Of course, I have MDE, which I don't use as much as some of the other third party apps. But I do like the online ordering for food and stuff for MDE. So that's really good. But I actually have one of my favorite tips that I give to people with children or couples or just anybody really. I have the Heads Up app on my phone.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a Disney pack that you can buy, which is Disney, related, which is a lot of fun if you're in Disney. But I can't tell you how many conversations we've struck up, how quickly the time passes by having that. And again, you'll want to make sure that you have some way to charge your battery if you're using it. But it is one of the more fun and quick time passers. And as we all know, lines can get fairly long and involved, and it's a great way to pass the time while you're standing in line. So that's actually one of my favorite ones, and one that I will suggest to most people who are going. And I help on a Twitter account called Cast Compliments that just boosts compliments for cast members as they come in. And there was one the other day where this group was playing a Heads Up game, and one of the guys in one of the cast members in Rise of the Resistance started playing along with them, and they have a video of him playing along, and it is one of the best. Like, it was just such a heartwarming moment to see him playing along and see how engaged they were. And so that's one of my favorites. I really enjoy having that on my phone.
Adorable.
Oh.
Oh man, I have a TVC app, which is not a true app. It's like a website, but you can bookmark it on your phone as a sort of image, right? As an app. And I think I've mentioned that before, but that's like a great service that allows you to find availability and set alerts for availability and all kinds of stuff like that, which I don't even understand why they don't do that yet on the TVC site, since it seems like they've moved to letting you search for dining availability. But also I think touring plans now, I guess it's not that recent, but the Lines app and touring plans they have dining search functions too. So that's huge, especially when you're down there and you have placeholder reservations but you'd really like to go where, to say Narcoossee's, but you're not going to get in, but you put in, a search. We actually, I don't know if I told you guys the story, but when we brought a bunch of people down in January, I was supposed to have luau reservations for everyone. I told everybody we were going to the luau the first night. So I waited too long to book it, and they no longer had a table for 10 to 12 people for the luau. And it was like on our agenda. Everybody was planning it. So I just, relied on Divine Providence and the Touring Plans app. And so sure enough, the night before everybody came in, because I didn't want to stress anybody, so I was just gonna, when they got off the plane and we welcomed them, I was gonna say, plans changed, we're gonna go here instead, and they all probably would have rolled with it fine. But touring plans came in the night before. I got an alert, and I went up to the desk at Animal Kingdom and I said, do you have, there should be a table for 12 at the luau. Can I switch my reservation? And she looked at me like, what do you mean there should be a table for 12? Anyway, she was able to find it after about 20 minutes. It came into touring plans before it came into her system.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we did get the table. And so I did not have to explain that to anybody, except that I've now revealed my.
And now you've revealed it to everyone.
Right? But that is a lifesaver. And that's also how we put together our trip in last October to go see Galaxy's Edge. We just had constant running searches for those dates that we were able to go, which was the Yom Kippur weekend. And because our kids had school off that weekend. So we went down there and we pieced that together one night at a time with various different rooms. And then finally they all came together as one bedrooms, and we had a seamless reservation. But it took a while, but that without that app and without that service, there is like a paid aspect of it. But without it, we would not have taken several of the vacations we have so far. because we just never would have had the time to sit there and search every single day for the availability. And Uber and Lyft.
Oh, nice.
Pick your favorite. Those are amazing when you're just exhausted at the end of the day and you're like, I'm not waiting for this bus at Disney Springs.
Especially since there's no more minivan service anymore. So.
Right? Oh, there isn't? Oh, no.
No,
it's
back?
It has been discontinued.
Oh,
yeah, it's not coming back.
No.
I hope it comes back.
It's basically polka dotted Uber and Lyft, so they're already there anyway.
So price.
Yeah, I mean, I did really like it, but Countdown, the Countdown app. It's just called Countdown.
Yes.
It lets you set.
I forgot about
Do you
that.
have it? It's awesome. You can set a picture. You can like say,
Gets everybody excited.
Right, exactly. And every day your kids ask you how many days. You can just look it up instead of having to go grab the calendar. And to Joe's point about weather, I use an app called Radar, which I love. And it actually, I don't know if Dark Sky does this, but it's My Radar. And it shows you the radar, and it's amazing. So you can see how fast a storm's going to pass, which allows you to, if it looks like a big one, small one, it tells you there should be light rain starting in 10 minutes. So it gives you just enough heads up that you can get inside if you want to. And it can be like sort of an easy, let's go check out this gift shop, rather than suddenly you're darting to get under cover. It like sends you alerts too during the day. So like the rain is about to start, or, there's a hurricane coming at you within 2 minutes, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love that app for weather. And that's all I had for apps.
Tim, do you got any?
I've used a lot of the ones you've already used. I will say, for anybody who's going to Alani, they have a brand new app that just came out in the past week or so.
Yeah, I was just looking at it because we're heading there in December.
We have to do a report on how this app works, but it looks pretty cool. It's going to give you the daily activities, because I just pulled it up here, but it's got a lot of geolocation on it, so it doesn't give you the full. If you're not there, I don't think it gives you the full set of features.
Couldn't play with it much.
No, you can't do a whole lot, but it lists the schedule of events, and I'm guessing maybe, let us know, Brad, it might do this similar to opening your doors, that kind of thing. We'll have to see.
I'm a little nervous because so much of I just got the note from them. Basically, so much they're not even opening. So I'm going to be there, but it's like none of the sit-down restaurants are open. The two main ones. It's all the quick service ones, and the pool is limited, and there's no spa, and there's no. So it's going to be interesting. But
anxious to hear how that goes for you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, well, I do have one. Did you have any others?
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Brett.
Tim? So I had one that I was going to mention that's a unique one, another unique one. By the way, I just looked in that Magic Guide. I do have the Magic Guide also for Universal. And it's the same one, has all the restaurants. And like I said, that's what I use it mainly for, is that. But the other app is one called GPS Transportation Wizard. When you download the app, it makes you a little nervous because it says T-Wiz.
Oh my!
Just a little nervous when I read that. But this is a cool app. I love this app because basically you can, like right here, this one that's GPS. You click on start, and then you can even, let's say I'm going to pick Art of Animation Resort, and then I'm going to click end. Come on. And then I'm going to go, well, I got to figure out how to get over to the Grand Floridian. I've got a spa appointment. Click Grand Floridian, hit the wizard, and it now gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways to do it and an estimation of how much time. You can take a bus to Magic Kingdom, transfer to monorail. You can take a bus, transfer to the boat. You can take the Skyliner, Art of Animation to Caribbean Beach, and then transfer car to taxi to Grand Floridian. And it'll give you all kinds of different ideas and options on how to get around. And so sometimes, riding the bus from a park to a hotel, that's simple. But sometimes when you're trying to get from one unique location to another and you don't really want to call Uber, you've spent too much of your budget. Joe's already looked how much he spent and said, no more Uber, honey.
Right.
We reached our max. So you can look at this and then it'll give you an idea of about how much time it will take for each one of those. So it's a pretty handy little app.
Very cool. All right, we need to wrap here pretty soon. Does anybody have anything else they want to share? We'll talk about this in the future too, because I really like this tech conversation. So as new things come out, we'll mention them on the shows.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Yes. we rest
our case.
Well, if we
Mavica?
the Mavica.
I've infected everybody.
We're all going to eBay now to pick up a Mavica.
Maybe got a floppy disk. Maybe got a 3.5 floppy disk laying around and I use it.
No, I had the big floppies, but not those little ones. Oh no, you said the 3.5. Yeah, the big ones. Yeah.
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 All right, well,
You got the little ones where you punch a hole and you double the amount of memory.
the 5 1/4s, yes.
Remember, you poke a hole and
The young listeners of Resort Loop are like, what are you guys talking about?
Right?
Listen, let's really confuse the young listeners and talk about laser discs, all right? That will really
Right.
confuse them.
Oh, by the way, I have to do a quick shout out to Carrie and Kaylee, who at a professional event spent probably 50% of the time just talking to me about Disney. So thank you, girls.
Nice.
Hopefully there'll be new listeners too, because I mentioned Resort Loop.
Excellent.
I hope so. Let us know if you guys have listened. Fantastic.
Yeah. This was a great topic. I enjoyed it, Tim. Thanks for.
I did too. ResortLoop.com, the only podcast powered by a Commodore 64. Anyway, if we've missed anything, everybody just go over to Looper Nation Live. Share what your favorite tech is.
yeah.
I know we'd all love to see and hear what that is.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Rebecca, where can somebody find you?
If it has a line on an electronic flask, I'm all ears.
Well, you missed the Amazon Prime Day, so you have to wait till Black Friday. Rebecca, where can people find you?
You can find me over at Looper Nation Live, like Tim just said, or you can find me over on Twitter at no other than no one else but Tequila Becca.
Hey, who knew? How about you, Emily?
Lots of people, Tim.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know.
If you go visit me at First Comes WDW, you will have been there more recently than I. I'm also a Looper Nation Live, and although I haven't been recording them, and I need to, Resort Loop Rocketeers, we have been doing all the 5Ks. I've enrolled in so many virtual races recently. I'm paying a lot of money to run around my block, so yep. So that's where you can find me.
Excellent. How about you, Brad?
You can find me at Papa Mouse 1 on Twitter and hanging out at Looper Nation Live, and also I'm getting more and more active with my DVC podcast.
Yeah, you have. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Great. And Joe?
Twitter, Instagram, as always, at JoeQuat, also at the Mickey Dudes podcast.
Excellent. I'm Tim Scott. Facebook, Twitter, the website, ResortLoop.com. As I mentioned, also Looper Nation Live on Facebook. If you're not a member there, sign up. We'd love to have you on board. Everybody, hope you enjoyed the show. Share what you've been using over at Looper Nation Live. You've been listening to the Gateway to the Magic. Take us out, guys.
See you, everybody.
Yeah, buddy.
We got to work on that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Good.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.